Do you ever feel like manifestation is just another thing on your to-do list that you don't have time for? Like your spiritual practice is something that you have to do? Honestly, you're not alone because I felt that way too. Something that's really changed my relationship with manifestation is blending it into my lifestyle so that no matter what I'm doing, I'm also manifesting. I call this manifestation as a lifestyle, and it's single handedly made the entire manifestation journey more enjoyable for me. And I've seen my desires show up with a lot more ease. Manifesting as a lifestyle has made manifestation go from feeling like a task to something I just naturally do because it's who I am. If you'd like to learn more about this, I've created a step by step guide for you. I'll link it in my show notes so you can check it out.
Hey, love, welcome to Affirm It Express, the mini series within the podcast that's all about giving you a quick spiritual boost. In each episode, I'll share affirmations or a quick tip to help you stay in your best energy. So let's get to the good stuff and affirm it together. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Affirm It Express. Today's episode is all about consistency. So if you haven't already tuned in to this week's longer episode, which was just the episode right before this, I highly recommend listening to it if you are working on becoming more consistent. I give you some actual tips and kind of what the journey was like for me to continuously and in consistent effort to become more consistent. That was a lot of me saying consistent. However, I think that episode was such a nice breakdown because it's not what you would traditionally expect in a consistency themed episode. I'm not telling you to just push through it and go do it. I give you some tips on how to navigate just the ups and downs and give you a little bit more reasoning as to why you might be subconsciously pushing off things that you actually really want to be consistent for. So these affirmations, I've chosen 3 for you, and I'll explain each one and why I picked it. That way, when you are going through and repeating these affirmations or writing them down, you're able to really connect to the broader meaning of it rather than taking the words too literally or only limiting yourself to the words. I hope you can get the entire essence of the entire affirmation with it, which is why I love explaining them. So the first affirmation is I choose to keep promises to myself for myself. This is a theme I covered in the episode where becoming consistent, especially in your spiritual practice, becomes like keeping a promise to yourself. And sometimes our motivations for consistency are external, but I really wanted to highlight the internal motivation. So, keeping those promises to yourself, but also for yourself, for nobody else. So, I thought that was a really special way to just bring it back to consistency being about you and not an external show. The next affirmation is I feel really good when I consistently show up. I had this more like profoundly worded, but then I decided to make it more just like casually phrased because I thought that was something that was easy to remember, easy to remind yourself of, and really anchor the action and just the fact that consistency does really feel good when you can do it for yourself. And lastly, I welcome consistency as part of my new identity. And this is another thing I touched on in the episode where consistency is ultimately an identity shift that we're trying to make. We think it's very action oriented, which it is. However, taking certain actions and taking actions this many times and with this frequency actually becomes an identity shift and it's all intertwined. So I wanted to kind of subconsciously remind yourself and myself that I am a consistent person. It's not just something I do for 1 week or in January after I set a new goal. It is part of who I am. So that is all of the affirmations. And now we will repeat them together. So repeat after me. You can just listen to me or you can use it as a time to jot them down. The first one is I choose to keep promises to myself and for myself. I feel really good when I consistently show up. I welcome consistency as part of my identity. I choose to keep promises to myself for myself. I feel really good when I consistently show up. I welcome consistency as part of my identity. I choose to keep promises to myself and for myself. I feel really good when I consistently show up. I welcome consistency as part of my identity. And that is it. So, these affirmations are for you, especially if you are working on becoming a more consistent person. Play with these. Maybe put them near an area where you are trying to be more consistent, whether that is you're trying to be more consistent, I don't know, like doing your skincare in the morning or eating breakfast. Maybe like set a plate out and have these affirmations on them. Just get creative, get playful. You're allowed to have fun as you're bettering yourself. I find it to be literally the most fun thing I could ask myself to do. So enjoy it. And I hope these affirmations can help you become more consistent. I will see you next week. Bye.